Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is the LaCroix Poppy himself, a.k.a. my fellow Forbes 30 under 30, a.k.a. Happy Final Fantasy 16 Day, Tim Buggin Geddes.
So here I am.
Here you are.
Growing older all the time. Looking older all the time.
You look as young as ever.
Feeling younger in my mind. Bless. Of course, those are the lyrics to Superman by Goldfinger. Last night, me and a motley crew of the Kinda Funny team, including Roger, Leanza, Cool Greg, Gia, and Snowbike Mike, went to a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater cover band concert.
Sounds incredible.
They're called the Downhill Jam, and it was one of the best nights of my life.
That's incredible.
It was so much fun. I left everything I had on that dance floor, Bless. I hurt so bad. I'm too old for this. The lyrics to Superman have never been more relatable to me, but there was a shift, right? Fun show. People were doing, this is the skank, Bless. I learned a lot last night, okay, about ska music.
Yeah, you do this while you listen to ska. It's law.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't there, everybody. Could be caught dead doing this, whatever this move is.
Let me tell you, Bless.
Did you mosh it all?
So here's the situation, all right? Such a good time. We get there. There was a ska band as the openers, and they totally rocked it. So much fun. Then the Downhill Jam, which is a level in Tony Hawk 1, and also the best name for a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater cover band of all time. They come out, start just fucking destroying it. Just doing all the hits. All
now, when you say all the hits, is it the series of games? Are they working their way through all the Tony Hawk Pro Skaters?
All of them.
Now, does that include Undergrounds?
There was one song from Underground.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, but it was amazing. Just the eclectic mix of it all, and just like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtracks, mix of genres. So a lot of it was the more punk rock, ska type stuff. But there was a shift about halfway through. We're having a great time. Everyone's there, just kind of vibing to all of it. But then the rapper comes out on stage.
Oh my! Don't tell me they did Paparazzi.
Oh, they didn't do Paparazzi.
Oh,
unfortunately, they did not. But they did Express Yourself. They did like all of the ones.
Okay.
Cyclone from Dub Pistols. They did all the stuff from Tony Hawk 2.
Did they do, what was the funky Homo Sapien
They did.
song? They did.
They did. Yes.
Was that? I forget the name of the song, but it was
If You
like
Must.
If You Must. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I
watch your
love
ass.
that was the first one they did. That was the turning point for me. I got right up in the front of the stage, and from that moment on, I was just jumping around like a goddamn maniac,
awesome.
man. And yeah, the rap stuff just like carried it through the second half. The energy was insane. Then of course they closed out with Superman, and it was the hypest thing in the world. But then they were like, "Oh, we have one more. It's an original song. We're gonna end it on an original song." And everyone's like, "Oh, no one wants this." You know what I mean? We're here for one thing. They fucking lied. They did Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones, and it was so incredibly hype. And that's when the mosh pit started. And I'm bopping around, and who do I see? Snowbike Mike.
I saw a video of Snow White Mike going crazy, and I was like, "What is this man? Is an enigma. He's his own being."
Woo. But yeah, man, it was so much fun. They're going on tour right now. I recommend people look up the Downhill Jam and go to a show because it was an absolute blast. But I tell you, Bless, I haven't hurt this bad. I haven't been this tired ever.
Hell yeah. I love that for you.
I'm shaking. Like
I love that for
my
you
legs
so
are
much.
shaking and I'm sitting down. But anyways, I'm excited to talk about video games.
I'm excited to talk about video games too. Tim, is there another game or series of games out there, let's say licensed soundtrack, that if they did a similar thing, if there was a cover band that was doing songs from that game, you would follow around, or not follow around, but you would attend the concert.
Like a fucking groupie?
Yeah, you're like, I don't know why I'm looking at you like
Tony
a
Hawk's Pro Skater cover band groupie. That would be me.
In my head, you're flying to Seattle, wherever their next stop is.
Deadhead from Tony Hawk.
I love it. I love it. Honestly, Bless, so many.
Yeah.
Last night was so fun. Joey and I were talking. If they did this for rock band songs, if they did it for Guitar
that'd be
Hero,
fun.
I mean, can you imagine if they did it for NBA Street Volume 2?
No, I was thinking about that. Like an NBA Street Volume 2 would be sick as hell. Or I was thinking even like, oh yeah, this is the same. It's like a 30-minute show. Like, all right, cool guys, peace out. GTA San Andreas, I feel like would be a fun one. You know, just give me Radio Los Santos, just an old school '90s hip hop cover band.
There's an audience. I was surprised. I thought there was going to be like less than 10 people there. There was a ton of people, and everyone was just there to have a good time. Shout out to Anthony, the best friend that came through. Had a great night with him.
Hell yeah.
It was just awesome, man. But yeah, I think that there's something here. I don't know.
What if we learn how to play instruments?
Yeah. What if it was us?
I mean, we could probably do the hip hop stuff. We could rap.
We could figure that out.
I can get on the ones and twos, produce some cover beats.
But I play the drums if we need.
Barrett plays the drums.
Yeah, Andy plays guitar.
Did you know that? Because I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. But they had the punk rock band play the music for the rap songs, which made it even
that's
so
awesome.
much better. Oh my
Like a
god,
Lupe concert.
such a great time.
Tim, that sounds like a great time. You know what else is a great time? Talking about video games. Let's talk about today's stories, which include a whole bunch of new details from Xbox's FTC trial, new Starfield details from our Todd Howard interview, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to kindafunny.com/KFGD to get your questions read, your squad ups read, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free, plus a bevy of bonus content.
What happened there?
What happened where?
You hit.
Oh, I think it's the water bottle.
Oh, okay.
The metal, the metal
okay.
sound.
It
That was the
sounded
water
like
bottle.
a text notification. I was like, what the fuck's happening?
Oh, no, we're good,
Yeah.
we're good.
What a weird
I mean, one of these days, I'm sure Kevin forgot to put one screw in this thing, and we're just gonna fucking collapse, and the studio's gonna be in shambles. These TVs fucking electrocute us.
Done. Oh yeah.
And it's a viral video. Everybody sees it. Housekeeping for you. A new Kinda Funny Xcast is up right now, and the crew has on the one, the only Todd Howard, aka God Howard, to discuss all things Starfield. That's up over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. A new episode of The Blessing Show is up right now, and it's all about what's up with PlayStation's multiplayer strategy. It is required watching for PS I Love You XOXO that's being recorded later today on Patreon, and that's up tomorrow on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. It's only like an 8-minute video, and it's a quick
Great.
breakdown.
So good.
Oh, thank you so much.
So good.
It's a breakdown of basically what's going on in PlayStation and the multiplayer stuff and the PlayStation Showcase and like my personal reaction to it and my read on it. But of course, we're going to expound on that on PS Love You. But go watch that episode before you hop into PS Love You, or just hop into PS Love You and then watch the episode after. I'm sure we're going to recap it. It's going to be a fun time. Good conversations. Hell yeah. And then Tim, there's been an invasion.
There has.
A secret invasion.
Don't tell people. Yeah.
You're right. I shouldn't tell people that the one and only Erik Voss from New Rockstars came through to talk to you about Secret Invasion.
He did. We did episode 1 kind of breakdown of Secret Invasion, and he will be back next week for episode 2. We're hoping to have him for every episode, but scheduling stuff might get in the way. But love talking to Erik about Marvel stuff. So it was a ton of fun. And for people wondering, the normal In Review crew will still be doing this for In Review. We're just trying to keep it a little different because it kind of got a little samey having the conversations week to week about the Marvel shows and then having a conversation again with the same people. So yeah, go check it out. It's a great time.
So when Secret Invasion came out, it was yesterday, the day before?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was out. And I'm somebody who I keep up with the Marvel TV stuff pretty regularly. I have been shocked by the lack of conversation I've seen about Secret Invasion.
It's just, that's where we're at. There's a lot of reasons why that's the case. You know, I think just fatigue overall of superheroes, fatigue of content, the level of quality of the Disney Plus shows overall. There's been some wins, but there's been, I think, a little bit more So I feel like the jury's a little still out, and the initial reviews of just the first 2 episodes of this weren't like, it's the best thing ever. So I think people are like, I can wait. But I'm really into it so far. I think you should check out the episode and get more deep thoughts. But
Heck yeah. Speaking of good TV, let me tell you about this show, Never Have I Ever on Netflix. This final season dropped. I'm like halfway through it. What a delightful show.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a fun sitcom about a teenager who is just problematic and toxic, but also, you know, she has a good heart.
Heart of gold.
She has a heart of gold, but she just doesn't know how to express that. You know, watch Never Have I Ever. It's a very good show.
Cool.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Casey Andrew, Delaney Twining, and James Hastings. Today we're brought to you by BetterHelp, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 8 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with...
Real quick, Bless.
What up?
I was at a Tony Hawk concert last night, and this weekend I'm going to be down in LA at the Hollywood Bowl in front of 7,000 screaming fans, watching Jeff Keighley and friends and the orchestra play music from the Game Awards. Man, it's going to be a damn good time.
You're having a great week.
I am.
I'm jealous
man.
of your week right now.
Oh.
We're going to talk about a bit about that orchestra later on. And also, shout out to Black Mirror. Somebody mentioned Black Mirror. I also watched the last season of Black Mirror, and it's a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they're getting back to ripping my heart out. These
Okay.
episodes. Yeah, like, I want to leave these episodes feeling like I have no hope for the world. Like, we're all just done as human beings. Like, we're fucked up, and we're terrible, and we're sad, and we're miserable. That's what this last Black Mirror is doing to me, and I'm loving it.
Good.
Great.
Good. You need some darkness in your life.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Story number 1. Xbox says it's lost the console wars. I'm pulling from Tom Warren. Of course, right now there's a Xbox trial going on, right, for the FTC, talking about the Activision Blizzard acquisition, them making the arguments as to why the Activision acquisition should go through. Of course, pulling different documents and different evidence, I guess, from different places like PlayStation and other companies to really make the argument. So it's happening live as we're on the show, but details have already come out about it. One of the ones that has already made the rounds this morning is the fact that, Xbox has said that it's lost the console wars. I'm pulling from Tom Warren.
Xbox has said that Xbox has lost the console wars.
Yes. And this comes from Tom Warren, who, is tweeting out a lot of this stuff, right? Tom Warren from, of course, The Verge. He tweeted out, Microsoft says Xbox has lost the console wars. Ahead of the FTC case today, Microsoft is keen to show Xbox is in third place. Microsoft reveals Xbox had 16% share of console sales in 2021 and 21% of the console install base. He also posts some images of screenshots from the documents. If you look at the documents, right, it headlines Xbox and Activision both face intense competition. Exhibit A, Xbox has lost the console wars and its rivals are positioned to continue to dominate, including by leveraging exclusive content. Xbox has consistently ranked third in consoles behind PlayStation and Nintendo. And again, this is all coming from Microsoft. In Exhibit 69. In 2001, Microsoft entered the gaming industry with the launch of its first Xbox video game console. In competition with the established incumbents Sony and Nintendo, in that generation, Sony and Nintendo outsold Xbox by a significant margin. With every succeeding generation over the 20 years since, Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox have remained the 3 major console producers and have been engaged in what the industry refers to as the console wars. It sounds like the beginning to like an Avatar episode.
Dude, straight up. That's it's the beginning of a Transformers movie. The voice of Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen, is like, 17 millennia ago on Cybertron, begun the console wars have.
Attack of the Clones. Ended the console wars have.
That was ridiculous.
The document continues. Sony is the dominant player in consoles. Sony PlayStation for over 2 decades and through 5 generations has been the leading console both worldwide and in the US. Sony's gamer base is redacted as large as Xbox's worldwide and redacted larger in the United States.
Don't call him a gamer base.
It's a game. What's wrong with a gamer base? You don't like a base of gamers?
Sounds scary.
If I walk into a base of gamers, I'm turning the other way. I'm getting out. I'm getting out of there. It continues. Xbox's console has consistently ranked third of 3 behind PlayStation and Nintendo in sales. In 2021, Xbox had a share of 16%, while Nintendo and PlayStation had shares of redacted and redacted, respectively. Likewise for console revenues and shares of consoles currently in use by gamers, aka the installed base. Xbox trails with 21%, while PlayStation and Nintendo have shares of redacted and redactive, respectively.
Hilarious.
Tim, I've never seen a company so excited to talk about how far behind they are.
Taking them L's, man. It's the best. This is the inevitable end that we've been looking at. At least we hope it's the end.
End
of this
society, console wars,
to deal with all this stuff, and also the end of the wars.
The end of the wars.
But yeah, this is all happening right now, and this is one of those silly things where it simultaneously is and is not even a news story. This is just them saying what they need to say, just like it has been for the last couple months, year at this point. God, just please end soon. Mm-hmm. Please, Phil Spencer.
We got some time. They gotta redo the CMA thing. That's gonna take a while.
Yeah. But where this is, I feel like things are getting more serious. Like they're putting it all on the table, and they're saying shit that clearly they don't want to say. But also, these are just facts, and facts are just twisted into things with context to be able to create a narrative. That's what they're doing here. Them being last place, sure, that is true. Duh. Let's just look at the state of the console wars. They're last, right? But just because you're last doesn't mean you're losing. And I feel like that is another very important part about all this, that in the last couple of weeks, they also were talking about how much more successful and how much more money Xbox has made compared to the 360 generation, which is the generation the people that talk about console wars would definitively say Xbox 360 won the console wars then. Mm-hmm. But it's more successful now than then. So losing the console wars doesn't actually mean much.
Yeah. And then I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of, they're speaking facts, and they're able. the goal here, right, is to use the facts that they can find in order to prove the argument of, hey, let us acquire Activision because obviously we don't have a monopoly here. Obviously, we're not taking a huge enough market share away from Nintendo and PlayStation.
Obviously, they're not redacted.
Yeah, like they're
If
not.
only they had redacted.
They don't have redacted amount of share in the space, right? Like Nintendo and PlayStation, they got redacted and redacted. The fact that Microsoft is coming out and being like, hey, yeah, like look at this. We're in third place. We got 16% from, this time period. We ain't doing shit here. It makes sense, right? And like, it's that thing of it's very interesting to see this information come from them because and this goes for any PlayStation or Nintendo or just any company in general talking about their own success, right? When you're getting in front of investors and like people who are invested in financially supporting your platform whatsoever, you don't go in front of them and go, we're the third place, guys. Invest in us, right? You want to put your best foot forward and talk about the things that you're doing right, which Xbox and Microsoft are doing plenty of things right.
So many things right.
When you talk about Xbox Game Pass and how that is like the leading subscription service in video games and how successful it is and all this stuff, right? Like
from any metric,
that's them. From
right?
any metric,
from financials, from just the outward goodwill of it all, the conversation around it. Like Game Pass is a positive. It is a win for them, and it is the standard. I think that's even the biggest thing. Like they are winning the streaming wars.
Yeah, and so like. They have all these metrics that they can go to and go, well, we're doing good because we're still Xbox, and even more so, we're fucking Microsoft. Like, this is a piece of our pie here, video games, right? Like, there's so much other shit going on at Microsoft that we don't really, like, we don't live and die by this, but, video games are important, Xbox is important, and, like, when we're talking about the video game space, there are things that, like, in this specific argument of let us acquire Activision Blizzard, this stuff is relevant. This stuff makes sense. It's just fun and interesting to see them talking about it. But with that, there's so much other interesting things coming up from this conversation, right? Like story number 2, Sony says it'll withhold PS6 details from Activision if it's acquired by Microsoft. The console wars continue.
The console wars are not over, everybody.
This comes from Tom Ivan at Video Games Chronicle. Sony Interactive Entertainment has said it would withhold details about its next console from Activision if the Call of Duty maker is acquired by Microsoft. During a deposition in April via Axios, SIE boss Jim Ryan told the U.S. Federal Trade Commission that the company's past collaboration with Activision led to the development of better features on PlayStation consoles that help the hardware stand out from the competition. But were Activision to be purchased by Microsoft, that partnership would be lost, according to Ryan. Quote, "We simply could not run the risk of a company that was owned by a direct competitor having access to that information," he told the regulator. As an independent company, Ryan said Activision is incentivized to, quote, make great games on all platforms, end quote. But that post-acquisition, it would be more concerned with improving the Xbox business than in taking advantage of unique PS5 features or helping Sony develop better consoles. In a heavily redacted section of Ryan's discussion with the FTC, the executive suggested that Sony's experience of working with Minecraft maker Mojang after Microsoft acquired the studio gave the company cause for concern about doing likewise with Activision. Sony has previously suggested that Microsoft could release degraded versions of Call of Duty games for PlayStation consoles should it acquire Activision, claims the Xbox maker has rejected.
So the sky is blue. But if the sky was red, the sky would be red.
Yes. I think all this, people are going crazy over this on Twitter and stuff. I think it makes sense, right?
It makes absolute sense. All of this. Again, we are listening and watching something and talking about stuff that they don't want us talking about. They're fighting a fight. They understand. It's legal. That's just where this is right now. They're saying stuff that we're laughing at. This is all just memes to us because it is. It's just silly. It's silly, just words. It's them saying things that are so obvious. You're like, why would you say it? It's so obvious. It's like, well, because they're in a legal battle. They're trying to get something or they're trying to save something, right? Like this makes all total sense. And it's just funny, some of the things that they have to say and the lengths that they need to go because there are actual ramifications of them putting shit on the table, right? Like whether or if this goes through, PlayStation or Activision has had to make these deals with all the streaming game streaming systems for Call of Duty and for putting their games on that. And the 10 years of Nintendo getting Call of Duty, like all of those things wouldn't have happened if they didn't need to kind of be like, all right, we're gonna make some big plays here, right? So like there are actual changes happening and actual statements being made that they're going to be held accountable to. I just wonder when that ends and when it just is at some point they're literally just going back and forth and just saying facts.
Yeah. I think the one thing here that I think is pushing it is the idea that Activision would release lesser versions of Call of Duty, and that can be defined in multiple ways, right? Like, I guess lesser could be, hey, we have Xbox skins in this thing that you can't get on PlayStation. Like, maybe they can make that argument, but I don't think there's going to be a version of Call of Duty on PlayStation that is running at 20 frames per second to sabotage the PlayStation version, right? But like when you're in the scenario, that's the arguments that you're going to make because you're desperate to keep this thing on your platform. Or are you? Because like in a follow-up to this, right, there's a tweet here that I have from Noble talking about how Jim Ryan in an internal email sent out this, quote, "It is not an exclusivity play at all. They're thinking bigger than that, and they have the cash to make moves like this. I spent a fair amount of time with Spencer Bobby, and I'm pretty sure we will continue to see COD on PlayStation for years to come." End quote. So one,
can you give me the one?
Give it to him the one.
Who the fuck's Spencer Bobby?
It's Phil Spencer and Bobby Kotick.
Cool.
Unless I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
That's what I read that.
I didn't look that up.
It's just cool.
Maybe there is a guy named Spencer Bobby.
Who the fuck
and if
is Spencer
so,
Bobby?
why the fuck do you have two first names?
That is just
It's the sequel to Talladega Nights.
right. Like, oh, whatever. Again, I know this. We're making fun of this because it's all just so stupid.
Oh yeah.
Spencer's his last name. Bobby's his first name. There's just no consistency. I want consistency, Jim Ryan. This is important.
I think
This is a
Spencer
legal
could be a
battle.
first name, of course.
I wonder if this is like a weird like negging thing where he's like, oh yeah, like, oh, Spencer Bobby, like him and I go like purposely getting his name wrong.
God. But yeah, like I think Jim Ryan and the team at PlayStation knows that Call of Duty is going to be fine, right? They're going to have Call of Duty in the library because if they didn't have Call of Duty in the library, one, like they're going to get those deals. That's a contract that Xbox is dying to have them sign because that'll make this whole thing easier. But then also, so much money is going to be lost by Microsoft by not having Call of Duty on PlayStation.
And but that's an interesting conversation. That you're right, but you look at Starfield, you look at things like that. They're
like
losing money.
Starfield isn't Call of Duty.
True, but like when you look at nothing's Call of Duty, so that's fair. But when you start looking at the just library of games of all the teams that Xbox is acquiring, like,
money does add up.
It's all strategy at some point. And you talking about the lesser version of Call of Duty being released on PlayStation. It's like the funniest thing is take making it run at lower frames per second or like sabotaging the game out of it. The reality is Xbox is already the winner there because of Game Pass. If they acquire Call of Duty or if they acquire Activision, Call of Duty is going to be free on Game Pass or part of Game Pass. And PlayStation is going to be a $70 title. That's a major loss.
Unless PlayStation accepts the deal where they can put it on PS Plus, because that's been one of those things thrown around too that they're saying no to because, of course, like they're trying to not make this deal happen.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, I can't wait until this is all over and we just have the results.
Yeah.
Because the results of this are going to be so buck wild, I have a feeling. I think it is going to be like, yeah, you're going to have the PlayStation Plus deals, right? Call of Duty is going to be free for everybody now. Free if you have a subscription, of course. Like, I think it's going to be one of those scenarios. I think we're going to be playing Call of Duty on fucking Roku because Microsoft's talking to everybody to get it on any platform they can. We're going to be playing Call of Duty on like the back of the airplane seats.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm with you. I do think that's kind of the reality that we're facing eventually, like that. And Xbox is going to make so much money.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. One more for this Microsoft FTC situation, right? Story number 3. Microsoft expects the next generation of consoles to come out in 2028. This is Wesley Yin-Poole at IGN. In court documents reviewed by IGN, Microsoft said the expected starting period of the next generation of consoles is 2028. This means the next Xbox and the PlayStation 6 are set to launch 8 years after the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5. The news comes from documents made public as part of Xbox's big Activision Blizzard FTC trial when kicked off this week. It's crunch time for Microsoft and the Xbox brand, and as company leaders are heading to federal court to defend the proposed $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard against the United States Federal Trade Commission. This week's trial will see the FTC attempt to impose a preliminary injunction on Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. If successful, it would mean Microsoft and Activision Blizzard can't complete the acquisition while the FTC's review of the transaction's compliance with U.S. antitrust law is ongoing. In documents released today, Microsoft discussed the 10-year duration of its commitment to Sony to release Call of Duty games on PlayStation platforms should the deal go through. Quote, this term would in any case go beyond the expected starting period of the next generation of consoles, in parentheses, in 2028, end quote, Microsoft said. Quote, thus, Call of Duty will be published on successor PlayStation consoles should one be released during the term of the agreement. The agreement also would ensure that Call of Duty console games are offered on PlayStation at parity with Xbox, end quote.
Makes sense. Not really surprised about any of this, and I also can see it kind of changing. Like, we're just in a shifting landscape for a multitude of reasons, and this console generation has been, I would probably say, the most different than any previous console lifecycle. Like, for a whole bunch of reasons, but one of them being the pandemic, and another being the absolute shift into Game Pass and streaming as an option, and just the way that games are delivered, where it is a more digital. It's not a digital future anymore. It's a digital present. And that really became true last generation. But now the games are coming out, and like things like cross progression and cross play are expected. And I feel like because of all of that, even the cross gen nature, what we saw from PS4 to 5 and Xbox One to X and S was so much more, like, now looking at it, seamless than we had previously. Like, there were always games that would come out, not always, but there have been games that come out on both the previous gen and the next gen, like looking at Metal Gear Solid 5 or obviously Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, things like that. Nintendo's a little bit different, but I feel like this time it was pretty much everything, right? And I feel like we're just now getting to the point that we're getting this gen exclusive games. I mean, Final Fantasy 16 coming out today, right? Like, that is one of the first major games, like one of the biggest for sure, to be exclusive to
just
this
PS5
generation. Yeah, you know, and I feel like we're going to continue to get those, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2028 comes along and whatever the PlayStation 6 is, there's again another kind of like even more seamless transition between
That's
the
the
two.
thing is, I think there's always going to be generations because you're always going to want to take advantage of new features and more powerful platforms and try to push things forward. And I don't think, I mean, unless consoles basically just become PCs, which is, you know, perfectly possible, but like unless that happens, which kind of defeats the purpose of consoles in my opinion, then like, yeah, like you're always going to have to move on to the next machine at some point if you want to be able to take advantage of the new things.
You know, I think the one thing that I missed in what I was just saying that really ties it all together is the accounts nature of it all. Where your PSN, I imagine, is going to follow you for the rest of PlayStation.
Hopefully.
And that didn't exist before. But even that, hopefully, I feel like if it doesn't, I would be utterly shocked, right? With Xbox, it's the same thing. I mean, Xbox already across multiple platforms and things. And even with Nintendo, I think we're at the point that all of the big three...
We'll see with Nintendo.
Nintendo's weird, but I think that they've shown where they're at now. It's like they have... There's a platform that they can use, whereas they did not have that before. And it was like all the old school ways of virtual console. Like, they've given up on that. And there's pros and cons to all of it. But like, I imagine that they're just going to continue their account-based things. And even then, Nintendo accounts, your account's still transferred. But I feel like they've cleaned up their shit. The Switch is a restart for Nintendo, right? It was messy as fuck when it came to the 3DS and the Wii U and all that for a multitude of reasons. The Switch makes sense. There's one thing, there's one account, and it works. Doesn't always work perfectly for a bunch of reasons, but the ecosystem of it totally adds up and makes sense. And then on the PlayStation Xbox side, I think even more.
We're already there,
right?
Yeah,
like they've been there.
The way we've carried over already from PS4 to PS5, and even I believe, like, I mean, your PSN account's already carried over from PS3 and PS4. Even if your games didn't, we're already at that place. Like even in Xbox, where you know it's so fun hearing stories of people booting up their Xbox Series X or like buying a new Xbox Series X, opening up an old Oblivion save and their save still being there, right? From like 2006 or whatever.
It's
like
beautiful.
It's a beautiful time that we live in for that stuff. And yeah, I think that stuff is only going to continue and even progress more. And I think you're right in terms of the blending between the generations where I think that can affect the years in which the stuff comes out. I think go for it, Barrett. I can't hear you.
Sorry, that was some weird playback stuff on my end.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But anyway, wait, was that your voice or my voice when you said I think?
That was your voice on the Twitch.
Holy
stream.
shit! I totally thought that was you. That's kind of weird. Do I sound like Barrett sometimes?
I mean, people get us mixed up all the time.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I thought it was my voice.
Okay, well, I guess we're all going crazy. But yeah, like I think you might see console life cycles last a bit longer because of that, because there might be that less of a hard cut and more of that transition. But I think forever, at least for a long time still, we're going to have console generations, and that's still going to be a thing.
And I think on top of that too, I expect more than ever iterations of the same console. PS5 is a brand. They're going to want to, like, they're winning, they're having so much success. You want to keep the PS5 name going and have PS5 mean something in the same way PS4 meant something, right? Eventually, PS6 is going to mean something, but only when they need it to. They don't need it to for a long time, right? So that's why 2028, I'm like, we're talking about 5 years from now. Like,
yeah, 2028 is not even a real year to me yet.
no, 100%.
Like 2025 is barely a real year to me.
Yeah.
2023 is not even a real year to me. You know what I mean, Tim?
I really do.
But you know what's real to me, Tim? Patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Over on Patreon.com, you can get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. I know this from experience, how often it just seems easier to care about others and to keep it moving. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burnt out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Some of my very best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny.
Tim Geddes,
Before we get to the next story, I have a quick thing I need to tell you.
what's up?
I went to Best Buy last week with Gia to purchase Super Mario Brothers, the movie, on 4K Blu-ray.
Oh, the new one. I was thinking the original one from back in the day. I was like, wait, hold on. There's more to this story. They got that at Best Buy in 4K? That's crazy.
You know what they didn't have at Best Buy, Bless?
What's that?
Super Mario Brothers, the movie, in 4K on Blu-ray.
Wait, really?
You know what else they didn't have?
What's that?
A single Blu-ray.
No.
Not a single one.
It's finally gone.
It's finally happened. They
That's
just
so
don't
sad.
have them. I've seen it go from like aisles to
Yeah.
aisle
That's wild.
to small little shelf, but I'm like, hey, there's always going to be those kiosks of new
Yeah.
releases. They're gone.
Nothing?
That's
They're
crazy.
just not there.
I guess
That's wild. Physical
Target?
media is dead.
Target. We gotta start. going
Yeah,
to
I gotta go
Target, man.
Target. But the problem is Best Buy has the best exclusives. It's a
I
whole
know.
thing, y'all.
I mean, was it Best Buy? Some place has like a really sick Across the Spider-Verse exclusive. I forget which one it is though.
it's just so sad. I'm so sad about this,
Yeah.
because the worst thing is every single time I buy Blu-rays on Amazon, it doesn't come with the right slipcase, or it doesn't come with the slipcase, or there's some problem with it. I'm like, I'm buying these to collect them. I need uniformity, people.
I haven't like put in a Blu-ray in the longest time. Does that come with like the cool special features that DVDs had in the day? Like if you put in Super Mario Brothers movie, the new one, not the old one, like would they have like deleted scenes
Yeah.
and like director's commentary and like
Yeah. I
a
mean,
little
it's not.
Super Mario game you can play with your remote that never controls well?
Yeah. Yes and no.
No? Okay.
Sony movies always have that bullshit still. But yeah, they do still have all that stuff. But they also have that stuff on digital. Like if you buy something on iTunes, you get all those features as well.
Gotcha.
It's a sad time, everybody.
Very sad time. Rest in peace, Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Story number 4. Tim, yesterday, Kinda Funny got to do a pretty cool thing. Kinda Funny Xcast in particular. They got to interview Todd Howard, aka God Howard, about Starfield. And there are some tidbits from that. One of the bigger ones is the fact that Todd Howard says only 10% of Starfield planets have life on them. This is Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Bethesda's Todd Howard has revealed only 10% of Starfield's 1,000 planets have life on them. Speaking to Kinda Funny Games, Howard explained how Bethesda populated Starfield's universe, saying different planets serve different purposes. Quote, "For us, we view it as giving you choices when you look at a system. Here's the many things you could do," he said. This could include visiting barren planets that are only there to collect resources, or planets with major cities and settlements for players to explore and progress the story in. Quote, "Obviously, it's procedural, so there's no way we're going to go and handcraft an entire planet," Howard continued. "What we do is we handcraft individual locations, and some of those are placed specifically, like the main cities and other quest locations. And then we have a suite of them that are generated or placed when you land depending on that planet," end quote. "There are merits to even the emptier planets, though," Howard said, "as it all balances the busy ones out to create a believable universe. Quote, I think it is a moment when you land on some of these barren planets, and again, we will generate certain things for you to find on them," Howard continued. "But if you look at a planet, you see the resources, it has things you want," end quote. The more than 1,000 planets available in Starfield will therefore give players plenty to explore, and even if a lot of them are on the thinner side story-wise, Starfield will feature more handcrafted content than any other Bethesda game. Coming off of that, there was also some tweets going around recapping quite a few of the bullet points from that interview. One that I'm pulling from @Okami13_ on Twitter. They tweeted out some bullet points talking about the 10% of planets in Starfield will have life on them, mimicking the Goldilocks zone. Planets can have multiple different biomes. No rovers or ground vehicles. Jetpacks will get you around pretty quickly. Constellation crew members are awesome and can be romanced. It'll have a big font mode for accessibility, and ships have to be registered before they can be customized.
Specifically, stolen ships.
Yes, that's a good clarification. Yeah, you have to see if you want to customize and like
You can keep
store
a stolen
ship.
ship, yeah, but you got to go. Yeah.
You got to steal it. Tim, what does this do for you?
I mean, for me, not much, but I think that this makes a lot of sense. I feel like this is the type of stuff for me where I'm like, I'm not interested in these type of games. Too big, too much nothing. But I also understand that's the point of it. It is exploring. When you do find something with something, it means something.
Yeah.
Right? Where are you at with it?
I'm fascinated with it. Of course, I'm very much looking forward to Starfield because I really like Bethesda games. I think it's fun how the headline frames it as Todd Howard says only 10% of Starfield planets. But when I was listening to the Xcast and he said that, I was like, I did the math in my head. I'm like, dude, if there's 1,000 planets, if there's over 1,000 planets, that means over 100 planets have life on them. That's a lot.
Totally.
That's a lot of content right there. That's a lot of planets to visit and hopefully get interesting stories and run into people or battle against monsters or do whatever. And so I think that's neat. I think that's interesting. I'm somebody who I think the idea of a No Man's Sky type game where you're flying to different planets that are procedurally generated doesn't immediately appeal to me because I like the crafted content that Bethesda puts in their games. That said, there's going to be a lot of crafted content here, right? Him talking about there's more content in this game that is handcrafted than any other Bethesda game. For me, that's enough. I don't mind having planets there that are purely for resource gathering and stuff because I can just ignore those planets.
Yeah.
I can just go to the planets I want, right? Like, it seems like that is going to be more so for the process of, hey, if you want to craft something, if you want to build something, if you want that that option to have that chill experience in like a big RPG world, like that's one of those things I value, right? Like I as much as I love the story parts and the quests and the side quests and stuff of a Fallout, I also like walking from location to location, right? Like looking around, like running into enemies by random encounter and just hanging out in the world. There's something nice about the quietness of a big open world game. And I think that matters just as much as the big moments and the story moments and the involved moments of that kind of game. So I think there's a balance there.
I had a weird kind of existential moment a couple weeks ago where I was walking to the Supercuts to get my hair cut. And from walking from my house to the Supercuts, it was maybe a 45-minute walk. It was a longer one for me. Didn't enjoy it much. I'll let you know that physically. But I did enjoy it from taking in the sights and sounds and just realizing how many different biomes I walked through to get there. Just walk. I'm being honest. Walking through San Francisco of I'm here,
awesome.
I'm on a busy street, and then all of a sudden I'm in a forest. And then all of a sudden, I'm in a quiet little residential area. And then all of a sudden, there's a mall. And it's like, there's just so much stuff that it all just has different things. And I didn't interact with anything. I didn't press X to interact with anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just taking in the stuff that's happening around me. Some of it I put on my little earbuds and I listen to some music, kind of like audio logs in a video game.
Yeah,
You know what
like,
I mean?
I think those moments are special.
They are. It's you kind of can create your own moments just by little things that happen that for some reason it just connects with you of those sights and those sounds at this moment made you feel a certain way. Cool. I feel like there's games out there that when you're being transported to a different world, some of that is the point. And I feel like that isn't going to be for everybody. I know for me, that's not how I necessarily want to spend my time playing video games because I like more one-to-one gameplay type stuff. Like, that's just who I am, and that's cool. But there's so many different gamers out there that enjoy so many different things. And I feel like with what they're talking about here, I like that there's that potential for people to just go to the ones with life and find ways to do that. Or go to ones without life and find a story there, even if that story isn't real.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I think one of the best examples of it would be Shadow of Colossus, where that game is empty as fuck, right? But there are 16 colossi to find, and the process of getting to those colossi is such a big and important part of the game, and that is filled with quietness, that is filled with just you hanging out with your horse in the environment and looking over beautiful vistas and just really taking in nature. That is such an important part of that game, and that's an important part of, I'd say, a lot of open world games, right? Getting from place to place, what is that in-between period? And like, I think that helps out with the pacing. And it's not for everybody in terms of, Tim Getty, you're somebody who loves interacting with that handcrafted content. You're somebody who gravitates towards something like Final Fantasy 16, which is jam-packed. But, I personally, I'm down for a game where I'm walking through and I am like looking, I like the Elden Rings of the world, right? I know that's also jam-packed with content, but there are plenty of places where I'm just exploring and I'm finding nothing for 30 minutes because I'm trying to like do this specific thing. So I'm walking to this location going like, oh man, no, I should have gone here, and like double backing and going to this place. I like that. I think there's something fun in that. And having a game that is planets of that, right? Like 10% of this game is of the planets here have life, but there's a 90% that is, hey, go here if you're looking for something and relax, chill, and play the game at your own pace. I think that's valuable. I think that's good. And we'll see what the balance is. I think that's the other important thing, is that the balance has to be right. And that's yet to be seen. We'll see that when the game is in our hands. But yeah, like I don't think there's a problem here.
Yeah, it's definitely not a problem. I will say, personally, anytime I hear procedurally generated, I'm like, oh no. It gives me the same feeling of like the bad AI stuff, where I'm just like, I don't want this. I don't want this at all. And I don't understand why people would want it, but people do.
See, I disagree totally. But I also think I disagree in multiple ways, right? I think one of it is the fact that procedural generation is a tool. Like, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of games that you absolutely love that had the procedurally generated worlds and environments.
Same argument for AI.
Yeah,
just going down that path, but
yeah, I think it's that tool and how you use it, right? Where AI inherently isn't bad, but a lot of the applications lately have been bad. When you look at people stealing other people's work, or you look at like the Secret Invasion intro, and it's like you could have paid artists to do this, and it would look way better.
And so I'm super with you on all that. They did pay artists. There were artists that decided to do that stuff. So it's
for sure.
I'm just saying it's, and again, I don't agree with that shit, but I'm just saying I don't like either.
Yeah, and I totally feel that. But yeah, I think there's ways you can applicate it in. I mean, I'm sure procedural generation has for sure been applicated in games that you fucking love.
Oh, absolutely.
That you probably wouldn't notice because
for sure
the tool was used as a tool, and and they're iterated upon.
They're honing it. It's not going to turn into like what No Man's Sky was at launch, where everything just kind of seemed like almost bland in a way of exploring new things. And they mentioned in the interview, I don't want to spoil too much from the interview. Go check out the Kinda Funny Xcast, a fantastic episode. But it's like they're looking to put like handcrafted thing on procedurally generated stuff. So it seems more of like procedural generation to vary the visual style and less of what you're doing, so it doesn't feel super repetitive.
Yeah. And on the other side of it, right, I think procedural generation can be dope because it can allow you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do, right? Like, you can't make 1,000 planets as Bethesda. Like, you don't have the time and the effort to have your team make 1,000 planets. Now, if you can have a team go in and go, what are the parameters? What are the important aspects into making something beautiful, into making something that feels like it's handcrafted? Like, what are the different variations of, let's say, trees and fauna and animals and all these things that you can put in and like make that procedural generation work to spit out things that are really cool and actually like worthwhile to explore? I think that's the challenge, and that almost loops back around to being handcrafted in a way, right? But like you're using that as a tool. I think that's, for me, that is very interesting and exciting, right? I'm someone who likes roguelites a lot, and so procedural generation is my jam in that case. But
I mean, Charles Jacobson in the chat saying, Tim, you loved Dead Cells, and that was a procedurally generated. That's not the stuff I loved about it. Like, I would have much rather that not have been the case, but that's a personal thing.
For sure.
What I'm looking for, especially for like a 2D platformer type thing, I would much prefer, like, I'm going to take a 2D Mario over Spelunky any day, because that's just what I enjoy from these type of things. But I'm happy that video games can be so many different things. And to your point, tools are tools. They need to be used by people to do good or evil. Let's root for the good, and let's call out the evil.
Speaking of good, man, that Spider-Man 2 soundtrack is probably going to be good. Story number 5, Spider-Man 2's title track is being debuted in a few days. This is from Insomniac on Twitter, where they tweeted out, "We're excited to debut the title track from Marvel's Spider-Man 2 at the Game Awards 10-year concert at the iconic Hollywood Bowl in front of 7,000 screaming fans on Sunday." They didn't say that part. June 25th. Swing by if you're in the LA area. And then also Jeff Keighley tweets out, "Just announced Marvel Spider-Man 2 is coming to the Game Awards concert this Sunday at the Hollywood Bowl. We'll be world premiering the title track with the orchestra. First time ever heard."
Hell yeah,
You're going to be there in the audience.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to hear it. I'm going to be so damn hyped. I love the music in the Spider-Man games. Something I love about the Insomniac Spider-Man games is they take characters and worlds that I know and love so dearly and make them their own and make them iconic versions of it. Like, there is a universe to this Spider-Man, and you guys know me. I love music, and I think music is so important to kind of define the iconic things about it. And Spider-Man Insomniac's theme is so unique and great to it, and it feels perfect for this iteration of the character. Miles's Insomniac theme is so good and so perfect for it. Combining the two in any way, it just works. I can't wait for this. I think it's going to be so damn cool.
Hell yeah. I'm jealous that you're going. Like, I had the tickets and I was like, oh man, and I have like a thing that I'm doing on Saturday that's keeping me from going on Sunday. I could go to both, but like, do I want to fly out on Sunday and then fly back Sunday night or Monday morning? Like, that's a lot. I know it's LA, so it's a 40-minute flight.
I don't
but
know.
like,
It's gonna be bad, bless.
I mean, it could be 6 hours.
It could be 6 hours.
It could be 6 hours.
Yeah.
But I've also gone to LA a lot in the last month and a half, and I'm going to LA more this summer, and so I'm like, I need to slow down on the LA trips, before I just, move to Hollywood.
Bless.
What up? Are we moving the company to Hollywood? Because I'm down.
We did get $150 vouchers from United because of how nightmarish that flight was.
Oh, listen, holler at me, because that would be the thing.
I think Mike has some tickets.
We'll talk later.
Yeah,
we'll talk later. I might find myself in LA this Sunday. Story number 6. Sonic Central is back.
We're living blessed.
We did it, Tim. We did it.
You know what this means? Sorry.
I know exactly what this means. This was tweeted out 9 a.m. this morning from @SonicTheHedgehog's Twitter. Surprise, Sonic Central returns this Friday on Sonic's birthday.
Happy birthday,
June 23rd. Tune in for a sneak peek of some of our some of our upcoming projects, partnerships, and events happening in 2023. I put favorite in there because I already know it's going to be one of my favorite things ever to happen this year. It's Sonic Central on Sonic's birthday. Back at it. Like a bad habit. Sonic is a bad habit.
Dude, I can't wait. It's going to be good. The thing about Sonic Central is we know what it is. It's for us.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't like the Capcom showcase of like, I hope they show something cool. They're going to show fucking collaborations with King Ice.
Like, it's because of the 2 Sonic Centrals ago that I have this chain that I'm wearing.
I love it. I fucking love it, man.
We're going to see some shoes.
We're going to
Sonic shoes.
Crocs.
Some Crocs.
Be awesome. We're not gonna live react to it, but we will cover it on Games Daily tomorrow.
Dope. Listen, if you say the word, I'll be there to live react with you. It's happening, what, 8 a.m.?
8 a.m.
Listen, say the word. I'll be here, Tim, at this table with you.
I'm
and a
gonna
reluctant
I'm
Barrett.
gonna say no
Courtney.
for now. I'm gonna say no for
I'm
now.
gonna say absolutely not.
But
When is this?
Friday.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to a concert tonight. I'm not getting up that early.
Not for Sonic?
Fuck no.
but he's the blue blur.
He's the blue he's the blue blur, Barrett.
Also, I apologize. It's in my contract actually that whenever we bring up Sonic, I have to bring up the scene. The internet did not want that, so
Oh,
the internet
God.
disconnected for like a minute. So
Oh man, why would you do this, Barrett?
Smoochy smoochy.
Why would you bring up Sonic
it's part of my
06?
contract, Bless. I'm sorry. Contractually obligated.
Who
to do
wrote that
this.
contract?
Lakers said, I need to call you out on this. Because this is one of those things that grinds my gears, Bless. All
Call him
right.
out.
He says normal people are up by 7 a.m. I need you to understand that we're potentially up at 7 a.m., potentially earlier. But then we need to get to the studio, and then we need to make content all day. You're not starting work at 7 a.m. and then leaving at 7 p.m. or whatever it is, all right? Like, wrap your head around that, people.
And like,
I wake up at 6:45 most mornings.
Like a normal person.
Yeah.
it's also tough being like on at 8 a.m.
It's just, there's a balance to it all.
when Nintendo does a direct at 6 a.m.
It ruins our day.
Yeah, like it's like we're not, it's not that we're groggy because we've never waken up at 6 a.m. It's more so the fact of being on and camera ready in front of lights flashing at you at 6 a.m. It's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. Like if you're rolling into, I know there's plenty of people rolling into meetings at 6 a.m. and listen, I feel for you. That used to be me. Also, honestly, I kind of miss the morning life.
Because then those like early morning reacts, then you got the brain fog by like 11.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and then you're just out.
Then
of
I
it
got
for
a
the rest.
PS Love You to record at like 3. The whole thing.
The whole thing, man.
What else is the whole thing? Is what's going on at Scavengers Studios. This is story number 7. Seasoned developer Scavengers Studios hit with massive layoffs. This is Justin Carter at Game Developer. Months after releasing Season, A Letter to the Future, Montreal developer Scavengers Studios has reportedly suffered massive layoffs. On LinkedIn, now ex-staff have said the studio has made cuts across the board. For reference, there are at least 45 staffers listed on Scavengers' LinkedIn page. Scavengers was founded in 2015, with its first game being the free-to-play and now-defunct title, The Darwin Project. Ahead of Season's release this past January, co-founder and creative director Simon Darvo was accused of inappropriate conduct, such as shouting at employees. Darvo and fellow co-founder, CEO Emily Lamarche, who was his partner during the studio's founding, departed the studio as it was being investigated. Months later, the pair were reinstated, with Darvo put into a non-managerial position. There's a lot in here. There's a lot to break down here. I'm somebody who I played Darwin Project, their first game, and really, really dug it, right? Like I was kind of upset to see that shut down after such a short period. Season A Letter to the Future came out at the top of the year. I played that also, right? I was very much looking forward to it. And of course, when they first revealed it, shortly after, there were the reports of, like the managerial staff, like not being good to the employees, right? Like shouting at the employees and all this stuff, not treating them well. And, that was a bummer. We talked about it on the show. Like that was the whole thing. Season comes out though, and like it looks really cool. Play it. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 on the Kinda Funny scale. It was an okay game that like I think had so much potential and like could have been so much more, but it was also one of those PlayStation indies that didn't hit like a Stray or didn't hit like a Seafood, didn't have that sticking power. I feel like nobody's talked about this game Season since January, right? Like that conversation came and went really quickly. And so you look at how Darwin Project didn't work for them and now how it seems like Season didn't work for them. You kind of understand that after all that and after the toxic stuff at the workplace, how we end up here where it's, well, this isn't working as a company and now we're laying people off. It's super unfortunate, especially for the workforce, because from playing both of these games, it's a very, very talented workforce. Like for my 3 out of 5 for Season has one of the dopest art styles I've ever seen in a video game. And it has a very thoughtful premise of going around this world and journaling and recording what's going on here before it all washes away and you move into the next season. I thought this game had a lot of thoughtful stuff going on for it, but it just didn't have the stuff to make it punch through to, oh, everybody's got to play this. This is a must play. Like this isn't a game that I would consider a must play, but it's one that I think is really neat and has a lot to say. But yeah, like this bums me out because This is a studio that I would have been rooting for. This is a studio that after Darwin Project, especially, and after announcing this, especially, I would have been like, oh, we need to push these guys. But it's that sucky thing of, and you see this with a lot of indie studios, people go from being designers on a game to then rising up and becoming a manager or becoming a leader, but not having those manager skills or leader skills. And that ends up with them being bad to people, right? Like, not everybody needs to be a manager. If you're a game lead, you don't need, or if you're somebody who's good at designing games, that doesn't mean that you're good at leading people. And that ends up with us here, right? It's similar to the Gone Home developer, right? When we talk about Fulbright, we talk about what happened there, and we see this all the time with indie stuff. It's unfortunate, and I say that all to say, if you're leading a group of people, get your shit together. But then also, man, like, layoffs suck, and I would have liked to see a better reality for the studio, or a better version of what the studio could have been like, because I think there was a lot of potential there and they squandered it.
Yeah, very well said, Bless.
Thank you. Story number 8, our final news story. Quake II Remaster has been rated in Korea. This is Sal Romano at Gematsu. The Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea has rated the unannounced Quake II Remastered. Back in 2021, the Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea rated the remastered version of the original Quake ahead of its official announcement at QuakeCon 2021. This year's QuakeCon, if Quake II Remastered is planning to be announced there, will run from August 10th to the 13th in Grapevine, Texas. You a Quake guy?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I was out of all those, I was not really into any of the PC shooters back then. I didn't have a computer, so I would play things at my friend's house at best. But out of all of them, Unreal Tournament was more of my jam.
Yeah, same.
That was so fun. Just like such a great game. I like the more arcadiness of it. But yeah, Quake. I love that there's a QuakeCon. I love that it's still going.
Yeah, right.
And we never got. Like, we haven't got a Quake like we got Doom 2016. And I wonder if we ever will. I'm not sure.
Quake is one that, I'm a Doom person, like, especially the modern Doom. I'm a Unreal Tournament person, all this stuff. Quake is one that I always see brought up, and I know that there are always things going on with Quake, but it's like the details of it are always so fuzzy for me, where I think there was like an ongoing Quake Champions, I think is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Which was, I'm pretty sure, announced in 2017. That was the Bethesda. That was the first Bethesda showcase at E3 that wasn't the Fallout 4 one. So the second showcase.
Gotcha.
Better way to say that.
And like, I've not heard much conversation about like what's going on with Quake Champions, or what's going. Quake Champions had a winter update 2022. So Quake Champions is currently ongoing, but I just not heard much about it. Is my thing. And so I always wonder what's up with that. But also QuakeCon, exciting for Quake announcements, but then other announcements too of like what's going on with other stuff that Bethesda's doing in the shooter space. Or like, wait, is it? I forget if it's Bethesda. It's not Bethesda, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah. Like, what other things are they doing in that space? But Tim, very curious to see what goes down at QuakeCon 2023. But QuakeCon, so far away. If I want to know what's going on to mom and grab shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, we got Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine.
I don't like that at all.
Coming
it
out
actually makes me uncomfortable.
This is PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine. Bear, can you look up Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine?
It's a Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, spin-off.
With like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, the puzzle game.
That lines up.
And I think it's a similar vibe. Hold on.
As like Super Meat Boy, or as Dr. Robotnik's thing?
No, like puzzle.
Yeah.
Oh, like the same kind of
I'm pretty
game.
sure it's the exact.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. Oh, this looks neat.
Puyo Pop.
Yeah.
Fuck, I kind of dig this, actually. We also got Final...
So gross, though.
That's Super Meat Boy. We got Final Fantasy 16 for PS5.
Enjoy, everybody.
Have fun.
Have a great time with this video game.
I'm trying, Tim. I can't find the time.
I know. It's hard. It's so hard, but it's worth it.
We got Harmony, The Fall of Reverie for PS5 and Xbox Series X. Mars First Logistics Early Access for PC. Forever Skies Early Access for PC. 6 Days in Fallujah Early Access in PC. Tinkertown for PC. Feed All Monsters for PC. Grimlord for MetaQuest. Hubris for PS5. Novalands for PC. And then Nimbus Infinity for PC. We got one new date for you. A free jungle update for Stranded Alien Dawn is coming to the game on June 29th. Dawn. Deals of the day. We got a deal of the week for you. Get 20% off of your order from our RT store merch with code Jabroni. All caps. I don't know if that matters. It's all caps. There's also an exclamation point at the end. I don't know if that's part of the code or just Joey being excited in the housekeeping, but code Jabroni.
In the Flash, they say jabroni at some point, and Gia like popped off, and she's like, they said the mic thing, and I'm like, yeah, yeah.
That's incredible.
God. I have an update too on the court proceedings with the Xbox stuff. Very important update. Tamor Hussein has been named in the courtroom, and they're going to show a clip of Tamor interviewing someone in the courtroom for this fucking Xbox FTC stuff, and it's fucking awesome.
That is, oh man, Bless, we got to be careful.
No,
we gotta be real careful.
I hope they show a clip of us and like we're saying the most obscene
us just
shit.
fucking laughing.
Yeah, like us making like dick jokes or saying just a lot of cuss words. You know.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
That's
dude.
really
this
funny.
Is so funny.
Good for him or bad for him. We'll wait and see. Another deal of the day. This comes from VGC. The Epic Game Store's next free title has been confirmed. The Dungeon of Nalhul book, The Amulet of Chaos, will be free to download from Epic's PC Marketplace June 29th until July 6th. Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong, where you write in, let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. We had nothing wrong. Because it's us, Tim.
I know, dude.
You know?
Fuck Greg Miller.
Fuck Greg Miller.
Yeah.
You know? Go back and take care of your son.
God,
we got this.
do some baby
Go home and be a
stuff.
family man. Tomorrow's hosts for KFG are going to be me and Tim. If you're watching this live, only on YouTube in the live stream, there's going to be a 30-minute post show where Mike comes through and hangs out with us. Is it Mike? Yeah, it's Mike. He hangs out with us, talk about your YouTube super chats, and we have a good time. Of course, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, live right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Till next time, Game Daily. I'm sorry for the sweaty palms.
All good, dude. My knees are weak.
Oh, I like the coloring on this sweatshirt, Mike.
I like
I'm a big black and red fan.
Oh yeah.
I love those two colors together.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Thanks, Hunted Thieves. Send me more merch.
Send
Send me merch. I've never gotten merch. Shouldn't say it before.
Mike, two things.
Yeah, talk to
One,
me.
congratulations on another fantastic interview. You're just the star of the
Tim.
show.
I'm trying.
You know what I
Thanks,
mean?
Tim.
It's fucking awesome. And two, I had so much fun with you last night. That was a blast. And I love this. Blessing Barrett, you need to know this. We walk by, there's a merch table when you walk in, of course, right? We get in there, and like less than 10 minutes in, Mike looks at me and goes, there's a merch table. And it's like, you do not need to do this.
You never know.
How many racks did you
I want
drop?
everyone to know that I had a fantastic time at this concert, this event. Blessing, it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to because they let you play Tony Hawk Pro Skater while they were singing.
Oh,
They would
that's
say-
awesome.
I forgot to mention that. There was a
It was
projector.
sick.
Yeah.
That's
it was
sick as hell.
sick. So right in front of the stage, and they encouraged you. They gave you the hell yeah if you did it. You could play Tony Hawk, 2 controllers as well, and it would be mirrored
dope.
up on behind the stage. So these guys were rocking, and you could see Cool Greg playing behind them.
My favorite thing is
was dope.
we're like, where's Cool Greg? I look over, it's Cool Greg just playing. I'm like, wait, that's Cool
Yeah.
Greg's game.
It
He's on
was
stage.
really, really cool, man.
Oh my
so,
god! Now listen, I don't want to be that guy.
uh-huh.
Bear, did you get the invite to this guy? I didn't see the invite.
I'm gonna
Tim gave
fucking
everybody-
punch you in the face.
Tim
You
did a very
motherfucker.
public invite in the office. The only reason I declined is because I'm going to a concert tonight, and I don't have it in me to do 2 concerts.
I'm just saying,
back to
I took
back.
5 days off of work. Was I
Also,
home?
where was the? Well, he said
It was
this in-
on the calendar.
I gave everything I
But I
had.
thought, you know,
It was brought up in, I believe, several company meetings.
Several
last-
production meetings I
Yeah.
brought it up, but you know it's all good.
What,
It's all
what was
good.
the venue? If I
you know
may
I don't
ask?
attend those.
What do you say?
What was the venue? I may ask.
The rickshaw
stop.
Oh, the rickshaw.
And they had a rickshaw
Yeah,
inside
so
of
that
the
makes
place.
much more sense hearing the story from Roger, where Mike tried to be buddy with the doorman, I believe, and was like, "Oh, what you eating there, jabroni? You got some nuts,
got
some
a little
cereal?"
bowl of nuts.
And apparently, this doorman was not fucking having it.
What a great time. What a great time.
God.
So I encourage you all to say yes to adventure, even if it's a Wednesday night or whatever night of the week it may be. And you might think, I'm just going to go home and sit on the couch and watch TV. You've done that a million times. Say yes. What's one night out of 100? And it was a really good time. So thank you,
One
Tim.
night out
Oh,
of
dude,
100.
I'm
What's
happy.
one
I
night
had a
out
good
of
time.
100?
Love that
Right.
for you.
So, Bless and Tim, Kind of Funny best friends. Welcome in to your Kind of Funny Games daily post show with me and your two incredible show hosts, where we dive a little bit deeper into the stuff you want to talk about. Of course, this is the time where you, the community, can get involved right here, right now. Whether you're watching over on Twitch and or YouTube, you can send in your questions, comments, concerns. If you want to learn more about today's stories, if you want to give your opinions about some video game news, or you just want to talk about video games in general, anything in life, write in with your super chats over on YouTube, or subscribe at the tier 1 through 3 level, or for free with Prime Gaming right now on Twitch, and you can add your little comment. I want to go over to Twitch really quick because we did have an awesome Twitch sub right now.
The latest update on this Microsoft acquisition thing kind of is wild.
Lay it on us. Why don't you hit me with
It's
it?
Steven Sotillo, FTC lawyer questioning Bethesda's Pete Hines, confirms that Disney had a deal for an Indiana Jones game that'd be for multiple consoles. Hines confirms. FTC says the deal was amended post-acquisition to be Xbox only for consoles. The Indiana Jones game was originally going to be multi-plat. Now it's exclusive.
I mean,
Which makes sense, but them talking about it is like, wow.
yeah.
You had to say
Yeah,
it.
I mean, there's still like a question, I believe, because the assumption was that deal was made before they were acquired. So similar to like,
and it's like a license thing.
Deathloop, right? Where it was like there was agreement for that to be a PlayStation exclusive, even though they became purchased by Microsoft. If there would be a similar thing with Indiana Jones, with like contractual obligations and stuff. But like, it seems like not a big deal that they went back to Disney somehow and were like, hey, we want to change this for just Xbox, and I don't know. I don't feel like they could just make that call.
Like somebody
Disney's approval.
That's
so
the thing is like somebody says in chat. So is Starfield. Starfield is owned by Bethesda, right? Like it's the fact that
it's
Disney,
Indiana Jones. They don't own that license. So.
Exactly. They put that ink to paper with the idea that this is going to sell a certain amount of copies because it's going to be on everything, right? And so when they get acquired, that has to change the terms of the deals, right? Unless you're going to put it out multi-platform.
So Indiana Jones was announced in early 2021. When was Bethesda acquired?
2020, I believe. It was like, I remember us talking about it while we were still in the old studio, and then that transitioned into work from home era.
It closed on March 9th, 2021. So, all right, they were around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting.
I love this. Getting some breaking
Honestly, I
news.
feel like
love
the
this
more
stuff,
wild
man.
update is that Tamora was mentioned.
And shout out to Steven Totillo. That's a nice gentleman. I met him a couple of times now. We dapping up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nice-
He's definitely
nice
on a
guy.
different mental level than me. He's way
100%.
smarter. He's more intellectual. And I'm over here like, what up,
We're
Jabroni?
just
What's
dudes.
good? Exactly.
Kind of funny brings an energy to these game events that, I hope's appreciated.
Hey, Steven Totillo, you play Foam Stars yet? Let's do it together. Let's jump back into it right now. I want to give a big shout out over there to our Twitch chat because we have Robo Borealis subscribed to tier 1 level for 37 months. Says, love you all. Got a new job starting Monday. So excited for KF Games. Hey, thank you, homie, and have a great day
Congrats.
at the
That's
first
awesome.
day on the job. It's going to be a ton of fun. And also, we have John over here that is resubscribed with the Prime Gaming sub for 36 months. That's 3 full years. Never get to watch you guys live. Love what you guys do. Hey, thank you for that one. Just wanted to start it off giving some love to the Twitch side of things. But let's jump into the YouTube Super Chats because Sid Harth writes in, Final Fantasy 16, FF16, as many jabronis are calling it, been no-lifing since launch. Seems to me a lock for best action game for best action game with Hi-Fi RE4 as contenders. AC6, that's Armored Core 6.
That is Armored
Remember,
Core
we're
6.
switching it up. Could still take, but I love the combat here. Question, will Final Fantasy 16 will be nominated for RPG? Feels very RPG light from what I've played so far.
Yes. Definitely is going to be nominated. It is very light on the RPG stuff compared to other Final Fantasies, but I feel like RPGs in general at this point kind of do that unless they're going all in, like Octopath Traveler or something like that. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is 100% going to win Best RPG.
Yeah, I think,
Over Starfield?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah,
That
you
is
got
interesting.
because now let's
So it's
start
not a
breaking down
guarantee. It's
RPGs,
just light.
right? Yeah, you got that. You got Starfield, Octopath Traveler 2.
Listen, there's what's that game? The game that people keep, oh God. I think it's about a guy that's bald. He walks through a gate for a third time.
Baldur's Gate.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, a lot of RPGs.
I don't think that was the
lot
one I
of
was thinking of. That was the
RPGs.
one I was thinking of. But no, the thing with Final Fantasy is that Final Fantasy, I was thinking about this while playing the game. That is less of an RPG than a God of War,
Do you think?
right? Like,
Do you think
I
it'll be
love
nominated?
it.
Bless. Look at me.
what up?
For
Fighting
best
game.
Fighting game.
Fuck that.
I mean-
but here's my thing. It's gonna be nominated for best RPG and not for action or action adventure. But that is purely off of the IP name. I think if that game had a different title that wasn't Final Fantasy, but had the exact same gameplay structure, for sure it would be action.
I think it's gonna be both though.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be.
I'd be
nominated
shocked
for
if it's
action.
in action.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I think just because it's Final Fantasy. Like, people don't look at Final Fantasy and say that's an action game.
But I think that anybody that played it is gonna think of it as an action game.
So good.
The people voting and nominating.
I think they'll still put it. I think if it comes down to it, and like people are having discussions, they're like, "Oh yeah, put this in the RPG category. It's Final Fantasy."
What does DMC usually get nominated for in categories?
It'd be action.
Action.
I could see it being both.
It's gonna be both.
Yeah.
Well, and also
Lock
game
it
of the
in.
year.
I'll make this.
Oh, yeah.
Is this making top
Yeah.
5 game of the year as well?
for
For
who?
us?
Oh.
For Game Awards.
Oh, does it
being
get nominated?
Is that making the top
Yeah.
5?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's getting
100%.
Yeah.
It's got the juice, man. That game's fucking
Yeah.
good, everybody. Whoa, that's a good game. Let's jump into Side of Fries writes in and says, how do you guys feel about indie being an Xbox exclusive? You just brought that up from Steven Totillo. So how do you feel about that?
I think it makes sense. I think just the fascinating part of it is the fact that this deal was already made with Disney, so they go back to Disney and have to re-argue those terms and reassess that. But like, I think there's easily easily another reality in which they have to release that game multi-platform because Disney's like, no, we made this deal. We're looking for this amount of sales and this amount of money out of it. No, you have to release this multi-platform. I think that could have easily happened. But no, I think this makes sense. Of course, they'd want to go back and make it exclusive. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when this first happened, we were all talking like, oh, the indie name tied with Disney, it won't be exclusive, right? This is one of those like transitional periods where it's like, oh, that game was already in the works, like you said. It'll probably be multi-plat, and then we'll move on from that. But if it's exclusive, I mean, how many jabronis really want to play Indiana Jones? You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. Does Indiana Jones have the name, honestly and truly, in the whole grand scheme of things?
I mean, I think the game has
I
to
don't
be
think
fire.
so.
Like Indiana
it's not
Jones.
Uncharted levels of games.
Oh my god, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Like
in my
for
life.
real, right?
But like, I think
Indiana
Mike's
Jones-
right here.
I'm being real with you. Indiana Jones in like an Uncharted level of gameplay. You think a bunch of people would be like, "Oh my god, Indiana Jones! I gotta have it on my console."
If they show the game off and it has Uncharted levels of gameplay, then I think
then
we're
we
there.
have a problem.
I think
yes.
I
But
think
just
the
the
game
name alone,
Yeah.
no way. The name
I don't-
alone.
The name alone, like I.
We're both talking to it. Like Indiana Jones is not that hot as it used to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I
in
agree.
our,
Sure.
in
Yeah.
our lifetime, or Bless and I's lifetime at least, it really has never been, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I understand all of that, but we're talking about machine games. We're talking
Okay,
about
well,
like,
yeah, but there's a lot going into it.
Yes,
We
but
just
I feel like you
haven't
can't take
seen
that
it.
stuff out of it.
Is it going to be a first-person shooter? It's probably going to.
We don't know.
A first whip shooter.
Yes.
First person
throwing
whipper.
whips,
Yeah.
shooting whips at people.
Yeah, it's just all of this is just so funny because Uncharted is literally just an Indiana Jones video
yeah,
game,
it
right?
is, it
Yeah,
is.
and
Yeah.
I get all that, but Uncharted 1 did not set the world on fire. You know what I mean? Uncharted had to grow and become a thing over time.
You don't think it did?
No, not at all.
On a tech level, like for nerds,
It was.
like,
I loved it.
Yeah, it was.
People
cool.
loved the game, but
Yeah.
Uncharted 1 is like it was in what 2007 when it came out on the PS3. It was not like Uncharted is now one of the biggest gaming IP ever. It was not that then.
Yeah.
Here's
I
my
hadn't
thing with
really
it.
heard of it
I
until
think
the
if
end of the
we get
history.
that debut trailer for Indiana Jones and it's a third-person action game that is akin to an Uncharted and seems like it has a narrative that's really cool. We know Machine Games is dope at narrative, right? I think then it'll hit and the Indiana Jones name will help prop it up, right? But if it's first person, which I think it might be first person, if it's a first-person shooter, I'll look at it as in the same way that I look at the Avatar game, where I'm like, oh, this is a licensed game.
Yeah. Like,
It's a licensed shooter.
Wow.
I think right now that's how this is.
That's insane.
I wouldn't
happy
see
it's
it on the same-
exclusive. I think this can be a major fucking win for Xbox.
I think it's all great. It's
I
right.
need an excuse
I'm
to turn
talking
on my
about-
Xbox.
I'm talking
This
about on
is
the
it.
opposite side. I don't think people are going, oh my God, I don't have indie, right? Like, I don't think, like, it's not a Starfield situation right now. It's
mean-
like, oh, you took one of the biggest Bethesda titles ever. Like, now we're yelling. I don't think anyone's, like, screaming from the rooftop, indie! You know, like, nobody's doing that right
me that
now.
one more
Yeah.
time.
I agree with that.
Indie!
I mean, again, I'm not like making the argument that people are screaming indie on the roofs, but like I do think that like this is a big deal. I also from day one I thought it was going to be exclusive. I didn't think that it was going to be somewhere else, and that's exciting to me of Xbox investing in this in the way that like Sony did with Spider-Man. Like, and Spider-Man indie, very different. I understand that, but I think that the ingredients are there for something incredibly
this
special.
could be dope.
A win that Xbox fucking needs.
Oh yeah, it could be fire. Could be fire if it is.
I expect it to be fire, and if it's not, it's going to be a major letdown.
I think that's my thing. Like if they put out,
It's good.
if they put out,
I think it will be a major letdown,
Give it to me one more time, Mike.
if they put it out and
it.
and it's an 8 out of 10, I think it's like a drop in the ocean or whatever, right? Like I think it's whatever, right? I think this game has to come out and be a fucking banger
It does.
to then like be a thing, right? Like it can't come out and be good. It has to be fucking amazing.
It has to be as good as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I know that's
Spider-Man
lofty.
1, 8.5 to a 9.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but also that's Spider-Man. Spider-Man can be an 8 and still be Spider-Man and sell and be an exciting thing. I don't think Indiana Jones can be an 8.
But
I just don't think we're going to
8.5.
get an Indy 2.
But
in my mind, you know what I mean?
on
I'm
the
not
other
worried about
end
that.
of there, if Indy is a 10, I really don't know if that really moves the needle just because of where it is as an IP. If the recent Indiana Jones movie was like just based off of reviews and stuff, it doesn't seem like that great. I don't know. I don't really see.
But
it
I
being-
think this game has the shot to make Indiana Jones a thing for video games, right? Like making it
yeah.
a video game IP in the way that is a weird one. But James Bond, right? Like let's talk about the early James Bond game, right? Like
James Bond's got the juice.
Like James Bond is like that's an exciting video game IP. Like we talk about IO Interactive and them bringing that back. Like we already have that preconceived notion of what you can do with that. Indiana Jones, like you got to turn that into something for video games. Like right now, from the bottom level, I'm kind of like, all right, cool. So Indiana,
Uncharted.
for me, it's like Avatar, where I'm like, all right, cool. Like we'll see what this is.
If you were to come out, if the breaking news was Hitman is exclusive to only Xbox, if people or James Bond, people would be going nuts right now.
Yeah.
There'd be riots in the streets type.
I don't think that the gap is that big.
Oh, I think so.
I think
the
it
gap
is.
is very
Really?
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the creators of
James Bond
Hitman to James Bond
and
oh,
Indiana
yeah.
Jones.
If they came out,
Machine games.
if they came out and were like, "Yo, James Bond's
You know
exclusive
what
to Xbox,"
I'd be more
people
excited
would
for Wolfenstein
riot
for
in the
Machine
streets.
Mike, give me a
Man.
James yell.
James, they'd be freaking, man. They'd be freaking. Shout out to Squid Kumo who writes in. Says, I can't stand the indie hate agenda here. Kind of funny.
I might be more excited
Mike.
for a new IP from Machine Games than Indiana Jones.
I mean, really, I'm just pissed off at Indiana Jones from delaying Wolfenstein 3, you know?
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm like,
That's really what
I'm
I'm
like, all right,
upset
let's get
y'all
through
are
this
in the
Indiana
fucking
Jones shit.
minority on that.
I don't know if we're in the minority
more-
on that.
Yes, more people care about Indiana Jones than Wolfenstein.
In
In the video game world?
space?
Yes.
No,
Fuck you. No, they
no.
don't.
Put it on the poll.
Absolutely
No.
Put it
not.
on the poll. We got to start doing more polls. Put it on the poll.
Somebody said,
people.
Blessing, did you ever watch any of the movies? I was on In Review. I've seen those movies.
He's been on the
Good
he's been on
movies,
it.
except for that last one.
That's a wild one. Indie over Wolfenstein. In the video game space.
I mean, they're adding
In the video
so
game
here's the
space?
thing: we can't take the context out of this. A Machine Games Xbox exclusive Indiana Jones game coming out in 2020 something. That's fucking exciting. And,
Very
the
exciting.
idea of Xbox getting an Uncharted, that's exciting.
Yeah, but we don't
That's
know if
what
it's going to
we
be that,
want.
though. That's the thing. Is like,
But
you tell
I mean,
me,
no,
if you,
but
you
we
wa-
expect it's gonna
you
be
come-
that.
I think it's going to be a first-person shooter.
But I mean, what? Okay, first person, third person.
Okay.
The idea of it being a narrative-driven action-adventure game, cinematic, narrative matters, like what we think about for PlayStation games. The perspective of it being first-person, third-person, sure, we don't have any on PlayStation that are first-person, but if Naughty Dog made a first-person game, it would still, I
Sure.
think, be the same type of game. I think that's what we're talking about here. Like, I think that, there's so much potential for this to hit.
If you came to me, right, and like you gave me two options for, hey, 2024 fall, Wolfenstein is, or Machine Games is going to release one of two games, Indiana Jones or Wolfenstein 3. I'm pressing the Wolfenstein 3 button. I'm banging that thing, and I think most people are banging that Wolfenstein 3 button.
If both are the equal quality
Yeah,
video games,
equal quality
and let's
video
say
games.
they're both really, really good. Let's say they're both 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones sells better. Indiana Jones means more than a Wolfenstein 3. Both 9 out of 10 games.
I personally would want Wolfenstein 3
That's,
more.
that's, that's fair.
We had a fun one to start this off. Let's keep it going right here, right now. Raleigh writes in and says, does Timmy have to start over because you didn't return? Oh, this is talking about Only Up. I don't know if you've seen this hot game right now on Twitch called Only Up, one of those extreme jump platforming games. We're going to play it on Monday and have a big race. I call my guy Timothy. is what I yell at him.
Okay.
And little Timmy and I made it about halfway, Chad. I think we all can agree.
Mike, give me a Timmy.
Timmy is what I yell at him all the time. We made it about halfway. And here's the catch. There's no saving. There's no checkpoints. So when you stop, you restart. And so I promised everybody when I went to go to the console, I was like, I'll leave the console on. I'll come back. We'll see. Maybe I had one too many White Claws and I didn't want to play anymore. I wanted
Man,
McDonald's.
the amount of times I saw him last night with his hands like this, with White Claws in between each finger, and he's just walking out handing them to everybody. He didn't even know some of these people.
They handed them White Claws.
This man last week wouldn't stop talking about how much he burned his mouth from drinking margaritas.
Too many margaritas. DJ Kento writes in and says, Tim, any chance a KFBF meetup before the Spider-Verse concert in November? I made a Broadway SF page, my homepage, so I snag ticks ASAP.
Probably not. Just because I'm tired, y'all. But I'm definitely going to that thing. 100% going to that thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the concert that's coming up to town for Spider-Verse. Yeah. That'll be cool. That'll be cool.
When is that?
November is what DJ Kento said. I'm sure
Tickets are not
I'm
on
sure
sale yet.
you two will be in attendance.
What's so
I
funny,
hope so. I'm hosting a wedding around there.
DJ Kento, what's funny about this is I also have it bookmarked for
Bookmark.
when they go on sale.
Bookmark that. Bookmark that.
November 10th,
Okay.
Charles Hamilton's birthday.
Rest in peace.
His
career.
Still very.
His career's dead. His career's dead.
Fair.
What? I mean, of course. Let's talk about. You're going to a concert, of course.
I
The
am.
big. What's the true title for this? Because I've never figured out the actual title for what he's calling this.
Game Awards.
Game
10-year
Awards.
anniversary
Okay, that's what
thing,
he's going
yeah.
with. Okay. Yeah, it's like Game Awards Orchestra. What is he doing? Right. What big hits are you looking forward to on that?
Well, we already know the set list.
Oh, you know the set list.
Yeah.
You want to
There's-
share a little bit of it?
Yeah,
with
I
us?
mean,
You
let's
wanna
look at this.
Give me a
There's
couple big hitters. Because I'll tell you
12
what.
games. I'm excited for 6.
That Final Fantasy 16 theme should be. That thing's gonna bang.
It's going to be insane.
It's gonna be banging.
Yeah. Let's
Is that on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to go. You sell
amazing.
those tickets, Mike?
I got those tickets. I gave it to Chris Henke.
Smart.
You should have gone.
Yeah.
I bought the best seats in the house for you too.
I know.
Got them right
You
here.
got the expensive seats.
They weren't that expensive, actually. They were less than Drake tickets.
Hold on. I'm trying to.
The Game Awards concert is less than Drake tickets?
Drake tickets is a big deal.
That's crazy.
Tim's looking it up right now.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out. Let's keep it going right now. We have Beat Rick says, Mike, stop chasing Andy. I'll be your best friend. Oh, Rick, thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. You
They must
can
have
be my
listened to the
best friend.
AMA.
Great AMA up.
Yeah.
Going up today. Mike and Bless sitting down for about an hour chatting with all of you. Make sure to take a listen in. Find out who my top 8 are. DJ Kenter says, Tim, as a fellow Atmos homie or home theater guy, you have to watch Extraction 2 in your home theater. The 20-minute one
shot.
One shot, okay. Has a wild height to its sound design.
All right, thank you for that. I need to do this, but I feel like I need to watch Extraction 1 to watch 2 because I'm a completionist in that way. I know
okay.
Extraction 1, people say it doesn't hit, but everyone I've been DM'd, tweeted at constantly. I'm like, Tim, Extraction 2 is the business.
Oh.
So I want to see Chris Hemsworth do Chris Hemsworth stuff.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I have the list here. Arcane
On the TV show. Hit TV show.
Which
Yeah.
should be damn cool.
Some League of Legends.
Diablo,
Halsey. Maybe Halsey will come out.
potentially. She did before.
Oh, man.
She did at the Game Awards, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying maybe she won't, but like, what if she did?
Oh,
Yeah, you're
maybe.
right. What if she did?
Wait,
yeah.
I've seen Halsey live? That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was there. See, I keep thinking back to the fun joke that Andy made on the desk with all of us about Halsey. When he was like, "Oh, I'm bricked up right now." One of the best kind of funny jokes out there.
I do not.
Keep an eye out for that
I
clip.
do
It's
not
so
that
funny.
seems out of context.
It was an Andy Cortez ass.
It was a very funny
It
joke,
was horny
y'all.
on man Andy
Uh-huh.
Cortez live
Oh,
in front of
yeah.
thousands of people.
Yeah, Diablo, which I'm not too familiar with the music, but whatever.
Yeah, I love
Elden
it, though.
Ring,
It's
which
hot.
I am very familiar with the
Yeah.
music of because
God.
Andy sends me all the hypest shit, and I listen to that shit constantly. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited for that. Final Fantasy 16. I'm not gonna be able to contain myself for this, Mike.
That will be a really good one.
God of fucking War. That is
great.
going to be so good. Hades. Hogwarts Legacy. I can definitely pass on. League of Legends. Whatever.
Maybe Lil Nas X will come out.
Maybe.
Maybe Lil Nas X will come out.
Marvel Spider-Man. Hell yeah, debuting the theme for Spider-Man 2. That's going to be great. Starfield, I can take it or leave it. Star Wars Jedi, fuck yes. Last of Us, fuck yes. And Tenacious D is going to come out and perform.
What?
Oh yeah.
What?
They're doing a song.
What if he sings Peaches? What if he sings Peaches,
honestly,
ladies and gentlemen?
that would be the most hype thing. Keeley was saying that Nintendo denied him the rights to do any Nintendo songs, which is why there's no Nintendo here. So I don't think they'll do that. However, Peaches is technically Illumination. So
Yeah, that's not like that's not like from a Nintendo specific game or anything. Yeah.
yeah, the chat saying Tenacious D has a new song called Video Game.
Yeah, I was gonna
they,
say-
they've
I was just
confirmed
gonna
they
say,
are
yeah,
going to
yeah.
perform that.
Okay.
But give me the fucking Peaches, man.
DJ Kento writes in again and says, "Do you think the indie game will actually have Harrison Ford's likeness? Do they use the voice actor from the LucasArts adventure game? Who plays him?"
I don't know.
Those were probably like what 30 years ago.
Yeah, I doubt they do that. But again, there's legacy to Indiana Jones in a way that I imagine the people making this game care and want. If that's their vision, they're going to try to get that guy.
Okay.
Harrison Ford, I'm a little bit more iffy on, but probably. It's a video game. No one gets mad at de-aging in video games.
Let's jump over to the Twitch chat.
That
and
is true. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Let's thank Casper's 2 for the tier 1 sub for 47 months, 1 month away from 4 years. Thank you so much for your support. PS Witch with the tier 1 sub for 102 months. Triple Digit says, "What's up, dudes?" Thank you so much for your support. We are all geeks with the Prime Gaming sub for 64 months. Thank you so much for your support. Of course, don't forget, we are having some fun with our post show for Kinda Funny Games Daily. You can write in with your super chats over on YouTube, and we have one from Bander SN. Final review of the Direct 24 hours later. Tim Geddes.
It was great, man. Like, I honestly, that Direct couldn't really have been better for what a Nintendo Direct is in the state we are in June 22nd, 2023. I feel like I have so many criticisms of Nintendo Directs. I hate the way they're presented. I hate how long and how they focus on certain games, the lack of consistency of release dates or things like that. But when it just comes to sheer things they announced that I'm excited for, they really crushed it. We're getting a Super Mario RPG remake, y'all. Like, I don't think that people understand how big of a deal this is. That is so wild. I would have said never, not a chance ever that that's happening. It's the decade of dreams, man.
24 hours later, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. You know, it's funny. Sitting with it over time, I like it more looking back when I look through the roster of things that they talk about and announce. I think in the moment, I don't know if it was pacing. I don't know if it was just like how such weird energy Nintendo can give with some of their trailers sometimes. But yeah, in the moment, I was like, okay, this seems fine. Like, it was not exciting. But when I actually read through the list, I'm like, no, actually, this is pretty cool. We got what's that game, the breakaway game that it's coming from the Sonic Mania team that looks
Keep
really
thinking
cool.
It's Polly Pocket, but it's not.
Polly Pocket.
Yeah, it's something like
Penny's Big Breakaway.
Yeah.
That game looks incredible.
Dude.
Like, that is such like some me and Tim Geddes type shit.
I legitimately cannot wait for that game. And the more news coming out of like T. Lopes is doing the soundtrack. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I think it's going to be such a fantastic video game. And then the other news that came out after is that Shimomura is doing the music for Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Who she originally did that. She's the composer for Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15.
Live Alive.
Alive. Yeah. Like some of the best music ever in video games. And she did Mario RPG back in the day, but she's doing the new versions now, which is so freaking cool and exciting.
And like Super Mario Brothers Wonder, you know, I continue to look at screenshots and look back at the trailer, and it looks so good. And I think that's such an exciting announcement. WarioWare Move It is so my shit, and that's exciting. MGS collection coming to Switch is really cool. And the list goes on in terms of like, the Batman stuff was weird, right? Like I'm looking through the list right now, and there's stuff in there where it feels like the final year of the Switch, and I'm sure that's gonna be a conversation as we go. But for the stuff they had in here, yeah, Super Mario RPG, that's huge. And like if that didn't leak, that'd be, or like if it wasn't rumored or whatever, that would have slapped us across the face if we saw
It
that.
would have slapped so hard. And there is another thing though. The rumors were true. I love that we live in a world that sometimes Nintendo can bring the fucking hype with their directs.
Yep.
They did that shit.
Detective Pikachu also is kind of wild.
Pikmin 1 and 2. Pikmin 1 and 2 are just out
Had
now.
a lot of good stuff here.
I love getting GameCube games on Switch. Where the fuck is a Wind Waker?
A new Mario art style for a 2D Mario game.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
I'm gonna say pretty good direct. That's where I'm at.
Great job, you guys. Well, thank you to the Kinda Funny best friends for joining us on today's Kinda Funny Games Daily Post Show. Of course, we are not done. If you're watching live on Twitch, you don't got to go anywhere. You can stay in your seat. You can stay over with the computer or mobile device to have more streaming fun with us. And if you're over on YouTube, there will be a brand new link because guess what? Hey, Kinda Funny best friends, we're going to try crowd control for the first ever time where you,
Fuck yeah.
the best friend audience, can impact our gameplay in a fun, awesome way. Myself and Nick are going to play Cuphead together, trying to beat the game. But of course, you all can hold us back, or maybe you can help us with your support. If you haven't seen the crowd control stream before, it's a ton of fun. We're going to tell you all about it. We're going to talk about it when we get over there. But don't go anywhere if you're on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, please click on that new link. We will see you back in just a couple minutes. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.